Ag PhD full episodes and more are now available on Acres TV, the newest ag platform connecting you to fields of information. Look for us on watchacrestv.com.
During our Farm Basics time today, we're going to talk a little about something that many farmers still do. It's spot spraying.
Well, when you hear us talk about a weed of the week, for example, you say, oh, they're going to have to spray all their fields, every acre of the whole farm for this thing. No, a lot of the times weeds just pop up in little patches. It's where a weed went to seed last year, and now there's a bunch of them coming back this year. And if we can just go to that one little spot and treat it, we can knock it out.
Now, here's the thing. Farming has changed completely since Darren and I were kids. Back then, there was a lot more labor on the farm, like Darren and me, free labor for our dad. And
I don't know about free. We ate a lot of food, Brad. It had to be expensive.
But here's the thing. Herbicides back then were more expensive than they are today. And farm income, and especially commodity prices, way less back then. So the point is, our dad, like most farmers back then, said, hey, we're not going to spray the whole field. We're only going to do spots where we see some weeds. Today, because herbicides are so cheap, almost everybody just sprays the whole field and that's it. But we do want to talk today about this spot spraying concept because it's something that we do use on our farm even today.
Well, absolutely. I'll give you one example, leafy spurge. When we see leafy spurge along a pasture or a roadside ditch or something like that, we're going to go treat that one area, and we're going to use a strong rate of Tordon so we can get down into the root system and kill that thing once and for all so it doesn't spread to the rest of our farm.
Yeah, but here are a couple reasons why we don't just go spray that Tordon over all our pastures. Well, number one, it's expensive. You're going to spend somewhere around $15 to $20 an acre for pasture. And number two, the residual is very long, like literally 5 to 10 years worth of residual. So we have to worry a little bit about, well, could we rotate out or something else? But the bigger factor, the reason why we don't want to spray the Tordon everywhere is it can kill trees. And in some of our pastures, we have trees that we want to stay there. So we don't want to spray Tordon over the whole thing. We only want to spray Tordon in these leafy spurge patches that may be far away from trees.
Okay, well, how about this one? Sclerotinia white mold in our soybean fields. And we've got a bunch of soybean acres, and maybe in 10% of those acres we ever see Sclerotinia white mold. Why on earth would I treat the other 90% if I only have a problem in 10?
Yeah, $60 is the reason why you only want to spot spray. Here's where I'm going with the $60. We spot spray Cobra. That only costs $3, so that's no big deal if you want to do that over the whole field. But Endura is close to $40, and then you've got a combination of Topsin and Domark we like to do. Well, that costs about $20. So add it all up, and I go, $60? Do I really want to spend the money on $60 across the whole field when it's really only needed in roughly 10% of our acres? No. So today, with modern technology, we can set up prescriptions in our equipment. So literally the equipment, the sprayer, turns on and off depending on if we're in an old white mold spot, a historically bad area, or if we're not.
Well, one of the things that's great for assisting in that too is satellite imagery. When you've got satellite imagery of your fields, you can sometimes see right where those spots are at and then dial that right in your spraying map to be able to knock them out.
Okay, the reason why I'm going to disagree with Darren on this particular one with diseases, you cannot scout for disease. If it does show up bad on satellite imagery this year, you got a problem. Now, if you want to look at last year's satellite imagery, that's a different story.
Absolutely.
But I could just as soon look at last year's yield map too, and that would tell me the same thing.
Well, where we see a lot of this year's stuff is soybean aphids are another great example. They'll start in little hot spots out in fields.
Yep.
A lot of times it's right near a tree belt. I see one of those hot spots show up on my satellite imagery. I go out and scout and I say, yep, it's aphids. I can dial that right in, knock the aphids out before they spread across the whole field.
Well, we did want to talk about spot spraying a little bit today because for many farms, they don't do it anymore like we used to when we were kids, but we do still use this type of application on our farm, and we encourage a lot of people to consider that as well as a way to save money in certain cases and also use the best products that can't be used everywhere. They should only be used in certain spots.
Spot spraying may be a strategy you use for a lot of different problems on the farm, including our weed of the week. We'll show you how to stop this tough weed later in the show.